I don't know if this is going to work, but we going to try it. And then we'll do, we're 16 seconds in. Let me see if I can do this. Let me see if that works. Hello. I don't know who the two of you are who are here, but welcome. Let's see. Live chat. Can I see live chat? And Priscilla, yes, I did it. Now I just got to figure out how to do these things because I'm on my iPad, right? I wonder if I can... Oh, boy. Oh, look at that. We can go with a black and white. We could do that. You know, because I got this question the other day, and I was just sitting, and I thought, you know, let me just sit here and see what answer comes so I can respond to the question, right? And so that's what I did. And it's like, how do I want to explain that? When people say, well, these things are so hard, you know, but like, it's so hard to change. And I'm like, but this is because we keep looking at the thing, right? We keep looking at the thing to change. So if you keep looking at it, it's never going to go away. Like it's, Neville Goddard called it brazen. You've got to be brazen when you do these things. Meaning when you decide, like when you look at the law and you recognize the law tells you plant it and you reap it, then it doesn't matter what you're going through at the time. You choose the seed based on the harvest you want to reap. You want more calm, you want more money, you want more clients. It doesn't matter what that thing is that you want. So long as you want it, right? Then you're clear about what you want, and then you set that stage for it. You say, okay. So every time you think about it, it's already done because you know the harvest is coming in. Because that's what happens when you plant, right? You're getting a harvest. These things are, it's inevitable that the harvest comes. So be brazen about it means you're not taking no for an answer. You said, look, I planted this seed. This house is mine. This car is mine. This job is mine because I planted the seed for it. And you don't fret anymore. You don't worry anymore. And if fretting and worrying want to present themselves, then you remind yourself, well, the law says plant it and I have to reap it. Was I clear about what I wanted? And you go back over it and you're like, yep, I was pretty clear. So I'm just going to wait for the harvest to come in. And while you're waiting, people say, well, what am I supposed to do? What's the action that I'm supposed to take? The action that you're supposed to take, because people get really, what's the word I want to use here? They say things like, what, you just sit on your couch and the job is going to knock at your door? Like, that's what I mean when people talk smack to you. Because we're used to having to go out there and throw mud at the wall and see what sticks and do and do and do and do, right? That's what it is. And so we're so used to having to do that, that we don't think that there's another way, right? Okay, good. Uh-oh, that timer is going off. My boy, I'm sure he'll turn it off. I can't see the chat, but that's okay. It's like they say to you, what am I supposed to do? I don't know what I'm supposed to do. If you sit down for a moment, do you recognize you get ideas, don't you? Exactly. You will get an idea of what you're supposed to do because it will be the most natural thing. For instance, I'll tell you, I needed a job. Because I was having a hard time just being able to stay erect. I like to stand up, because of this low blood and low oxygen nonsense that I'm working my way through, right? And so I hadn't been working outside of the home. And I had to have a job. And I just lay there and I was like, ugh. And I was okay. I knew what I didn't want. I didn't want to be gone all day. I wanted to be able to set my own hours. I wanted to be able to still homeschool. And so I said, okay, so what do I want? And I was like, well, what am I good at? Hey. Sorry. Anyway, I said, well, what do I want? So I said, well, I want to do my own hours. I want to, do what I enjoy. And I'm like, well, what am I good at? I'm good at organizing things. I'm good at some bookkeeping, And that's what I did. And then something said, okay, I want you to go through your phone and I'll tell you who to call. And there were 2 names that popped up. Because I was scrolling through the contacts. And the 2 names popped up. And I phoned them. I left them voicemails. And what do you know? I get a call back saying, Angela, I've been looking for an assistant for months, but I've just been sitting on it and procrastinating. But you called me today and let's get it done. Like that, right? The second person said the same thing. I've been procrastinating and but I really, really need the help. I'm so behind. Now I got 2 jobs. So I said, fine. Monday to Thursday is what I want to work. And they're not far from each other either. One's downtown, one's just on the strip, outside of downtown. And I thought, right on the train line. So I'm like, this is nice. And once the training is over, I can work from home. Isn't that something, right? That's my point to you. I was laying there and I was frustrated and I was like, how am I going to do these things? And then I remembered, what do you mean, how are you going to do these things? And I was like, okay, well, let me employ the law. Let me utilize the law. What did the law tell me to do? The law said to me, what do you want, Angela? And I was like, I want to set my own hours, decent pay. I want to do things I like. So I want to be able to still stay at home and homeschool. So I wrote down all the things that I wanted. And I'm like, okay, so who am I? What am I bringing to the table? Well, I'm great with people, have great conversations, so on and so forth. And I'm a real fast learner, so I can learn anything at any time. And I thought, okay, good. I'm good on the phones, you name it. All those things are the things that I'm doing now. And it's done in such a way that the office, both of them are so quiet. And I'm like, because I don't like noise very much. And so it's so quiet and peaceful in the space. And I'm working with just them and me, or sometimes just by myself. So it's not anything where there's somebody and they're always breathing over your shoulder. They're always, because I didn't want that. I didn't want to have a boss per se. You know what I mean? You give me the tasks you want me to do, and I get them done. That's what I wanted. And that's what I got in both of those things. And it also happens, I'm going to give her a plug now too, because she's an incredible financial planner. She's a CPA, a certified personal accountant. And she helps people worldwide. She speaks French fluently. I'll drop her information down below because she can help anybody worldwide. If you're like, okay, I just came into some money, what do I do? She helps you. because it's a maze. It truly is. But this is the kind of person that she is. And so now I'm in a position where I said to her, well, she's like, well, what is your goal? She goes, you're a single mom. You need your own house and you need a tenant. We're going to get you that. She goes, 3 years? She goes, that's as long as it should take you. You shouldn't need any more than that. And we're starting to put the plan in action. So you see, these things, people say, well, why do they take so long? It's not that they take long. They say, well, does it just fall in your lap? Well, it kind of sort of did, because now the action that I need to take is right in front of me. Do you see what I'm saying? Any kind of goal that I want to accomplish financially, I'm not really, that's just not my thing. Yeah. So that's when I say I need guidance. And the law brings you the perfect match to guide. So it's not that you just sit there and twiddle your thumbs. That's not what you do. You get very clear about what it is you want. And when the harvest comes in, everything that allows that harvest to come in, so whatever action you need to take is already embedded in the seed. So when it sprouts, you'll know what to do. I knew who to call just by seeing them. When I was scrolling in my phone and I saw the names, I knew who to call. Do you see what I'm saying? You will know what to do. It's not going to be a surprise. You're never going to be, I don't know what to do. No, because you'll feel the pulling. That's what it is. And so when I wrote that thing with nature is very clear. Because nature is a reflection of the spirit. Nature is a reflection of the laws. Everything reflects the law. You understand me? Everything, all existence, all creation, whether we can see that creation or not. I'm talking about other universes, other planets, blah, blah, blah. Other beings in the universe. Whether we can see them or not see them, you have to know that the law is expressed in all of creation. So if you watch creation, pardon me, you'll know what the heck to do. Creation, nature tells you, plant it. The Bible story tells you, the sower went out to sow. And some seed fell on rocky soil. Some fell among thorns. Rocky soil, thorns, birds. It describes to you the mentality, the soil of the mind. The rocky, that's the hardship that some of us have been through, yes? That's what it is. Now the birds, people coming in. So you plant a seed and somebody comes along and says, squawk, squawk. That's not a good idea. Nobody's ever done it before. Who do you think you are? You don't have the money for that. How you going to do it? How you going to be this age and say you want to go back to school? Birds coming to pick up your seeds. You see what I'm saying to you? And then you have the thorns. The thorns are your doubts, your worries, your fears, the anxiety over, is this going to work? You see it? So those seeds fell among those things. And yeah, maybe they started to sprout a little bit, but the rocks, there was no soil, so it couldn't establish its roots. It couldn't take effect. So then it dies. Right? The same for the thorns. Well, the doubts that came in overpowered the young saplings. So the doubts that come in for your desire, well, this isn't possible. I don't have a template. Nobody's ever done it before. I don't know what I'm doing. Right? Thorns. And then, as I say, the birds, those are well-meaning people. You know, family, closest friends. Well-meaning. You see it? So, when nature tells you that this is what is happening with those seeds, but then some seed fell where? On good, fertile soil. And it took root. And what happened? Oh, he had a bountiful harvest. So, what is a mind? Miss Conversation, I just saw it pop up. But I don't know how to be in the room with you guys because I'm on my iPad. But he had a bountiful harvest. So, how does one prepare the mind? How do you prepare it? You prepare the mind by first recognizing where are the shortcomings in my soil. Because you got to go out and look at it. You test the soil. What are you missing for minerals? Do you have enough nitrogen in there? Is it balanced? Is it too acidic? Is it too much clay? You got to know. You just don't go into a field and start plowing and planting. Like, come on. Right? Because then you don't know what kind of harvest you're going to get. You understand? So you go out and you survey. You look at your life and you go, So I see here that my self-esteem is kind of low. I don't believe in myself. I got all this trauma. I got these parents and this family that don't love me, don't care about me. I'm in a bad relationship. I'm this, I'm that. Now you know what kind of soil you're dealing with. And now that you know what kind of soil you're dealing with, right? What are you going to do? Well, here's the beauty. Physically, you'd have to go out into that field and change things. But mentally, you have to change the thought. And I like the path of least resistance, to be honest with you. The path of least resistance means don't look at the thoughts that overwhelm you. Put your mind on the thoughts that set you free instead. Rest on that while I close the door, because the wind, like I said, somebody just came in the room. I don't know who it is and what it is. Kind of scary. Lord have mercy. There it is. Not like the spirit needs to open the door to come in the room. Right? But these are the things that I'm saying. When we want to change the soil of our minds, it means we change the thoughts. If you are thinking, I caught myself yesterday as I was out and about. Oh, here's another thing. I was sitting down and I was saying to myself, I said, whew, I need some money because I haven't been paid yet. I was like, I haven't been paid yet. I'm like, yikes. And ever since I went to the hospital that last time, and I called my dad to take me, he said, no. Right? I said, fine. And I said, I need some money. And I just left it there. I laid down and I said, here's how much I need. And then 2 hours, 3 hours, because that was the night before, but now the morning of, I'm just laying there and my phone rings and I know the ringtone. My father calls me. He says, how come I haven't heard from you? I said, I didn't think I was important enough. He says, I've got some money. I've been thinking of you and I know that you aren't working, so if you want to swing by. So you listen to what I'm telling you here. People say, I want this. Is it too big? It's not like it's a cup of coffee or a pizza or a parking space. It's a house, it's a job, it's a spouse. But is it important to you? Is it important to you? If it is important to you, nothing keeps you from it. There's no, oh, this one is easier than that one. There's no easier or harder. It's, do you want it? I didn't know where that money was going to come from. I hadn't spoken to my father in, this is a week. If he hadn't called me, it would have been week 4 going into it. I hadn't called him because I decided that, you know what? I was going to be done with that. I was going to be done with the fact that I always felt like I always had to chase my dad. So I said, I'm done. I'm done. If we're going to have a relationship, this is the kind of relationship I want with my dad. And I just left it alone. I said, I want to be able to communicate with him, talk to him, hang out with him. I said, peaceful. I said, that's what I want. And I just left it there. Are we there yet? I don't know. But he called me of his own volition. to see how I was doing. I said, I haven't heard from you. And to be honest with you, it's not that I hadn't thought of him in those 3 weeks. It was just like a passing thing. Because I knew how, when I thought of him, how it made me feel. So I thought, I don't like that tight feeling in my chest, so I'm going to think about something else. I'm going to be creative. I'm going to do something creative. And so that's the encouragement for you guys. When you think about something or someone that has, when you think about someone, right, and that hurts you and makes you feel yucky, then put your mind somewhere else. My son said the same thing to me because he says, Mom, I feel so anxious. And I said, okay, I understand. But he's a fire, like he's a bull, Taurus. So when you understand the nature of a person, you know how to better work with them. And bulls need to move, you understand? Like rams, they need to move. That fire needs direction. So I said, okay, we're going to go out and do something. And he worries about me because if I'm out too long and I've expended too much energy, he starts to worry, right? Because like I said, he was the one who found me and had to call the ambulance. So now he's got this thing in his mind. It's like he's now my shadow. I can't go anywhere. If I decide to go in the bathroom and I'm taking a shower or something, the door opens. And he's like, are you okay, Mom? So you know how it is, right? So that whole scenario created this thing in him now where he's anxious. So I said, oh, what have I done? So now I'm looking at what do I want for him, right? What do I want for him? How do I want to experience my son and my relations with him? Because we're really good. Like we've got such a beautiful relationship. We talk about everything. Oh, sometimes I know a little bit too much. But if he is comfortable sharing with me, then that's what I want. So I said, well, what do I want him to be like? And I said, what kind of experience do I want to have with my boy? I want to have a conversation with him where he's not anxious. So I want to have a calm conversation with him. So I start to imagine those things and tell myself, this is exactly the kind of relationship I'm going to have with him. And every time I think about him, or anytime he tells me something and he's still dealing with anxiety, I say, it's okay. And I ask myself, what kind of relationship, Angela? And anytime I think about him, I don't go back to, oh no, he's in a panic. No. I see him as being calm and free. Right? And so what I've noticed is that's what we don't do sometimes. We think that the law is selective. We think the law only works in some scenarios. That's what we think. But that's not the case. The law works in all scenarios. And it's only ever about you. It's not about the other person. You see, let me say it to you again. What kind of a relationship do I want to experience with my son? Not how do I want him to behave. He'll behave accordingly based upon what I project. Do you see it? I teach it to you this way for a very specific reason. We all have the capability of influencing those around us. But what people do not tell you, there's a caveat to that. In the law, the caveat is written. And if you read it and understand it, it'll make sense why you should never manipulate someone. Right? Because we have the ability to influence the behavior of other people. It's being done to us all day, right? So that's what it is. This is how we do it. We have that ability. But the caveat is don't do it. Right? I opened up my computer so I could see the chat and commune with you guys. So what I'm saying to you is, yes, we have the ability to influence other people and their behaviors, right? But if your focus is to use and to manipulate someone, the law tells you every cause has an effect and every effect has a cause. So then you begin to think twice about, I have the ability to be a master manipulator. Let me use it. Really? You'd be surprised how many people run with that and do it. But then at the end of the day, then they now have to bear the brunt of the swing of the pendulum. Because every cause has an effect and every effect has a cause. What you want to be a master manipulator, well then you shall be masterfully manipulated. Do you understand? So when I tell people it is about you, because it truly is. It is only ever about you. Do not worry about how the other person will behave. Worry about, how do I want to experience them? And so you always look to nature for that. And you know, as I was listening to what the doctor was telling me, that my only options were hysterectomy, I was like, I said, because, raised Christian, I said, Lord, this can't be the only way. This is not the only option. And automatically I heard in my head, I heard her saying, it's gone. How did you do that? Right? I heard her say that to me in my mind. And I play it over and over again. Because you know me, I get to flaunt the law. Because you're going to tell me hysterectomy is my only option. I say to her, are there any dietary things that I can do? And she's like, diet doesn't work. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, do I argue with this OBGYN or do I just let it go? So when I tell you that the law is not selective, it works in all situations, I said there has to be another way. I did a live on this, but not on YouTube, right? But that's exactly it, Miss T Station. She is, and I know she is, right? So I said, okay, what can I do? So I looked at where that chakra is, where the fibroid is, in the uterus. The seat of your sensuality, your creativity, your ability to bring forth new ideas into the world. And I was like, So I got out my chakra chart that I had drawn, and I said, okay, which chakra is going to balance that one? Right? And Spirit, in all of its wisdom, said, be creative. Oh, well then, look at what's happening here. Cause and effect, Miss T Versation. Cause and effect. Cause and effect. Right? I'm going to elaborate on that because I saw your comment there. But Spirit said, create. The reason why that chakra is blocked and has been blocked for a little bit is because I was sitting on my creations because of the fear and the worry of, will they be accepted? I don't have any major, I graduated after 5 years of school as a doctor of traditional Chinese medicine. Not very many people know that about me. Because it's just something that I do. And some people say to me, why do you downplay it? I'm like, I don't downplay it. It's just, I just went to school. They're like, yeah, you went to school as a single mom for 5 years. And your son had to go to clinic with you. And some of your classmates were not pleased. But you did it, right? Yeah, you see what we do? And so because you downplay those things, you begin to stagnate your own creativity. And because the stimulation to be creative can't ever go away, right? Because we're always creating. It has to show itself somewhere. So that's where it shows itself. In the female. In the uterus. With all kinds of uterine issues. And so I said, okay, what do I do? And for the past 2 days, I've just been creating. And I've been writing poetry more and more, and just that's what I've been doing. And it dawned on me, because you know the Bible, right? It dawned on me, King David, and how he was so, the phrase was a man after God's own heart, right? If you think about the love he felt for God, right? I use the term God loosely, but I'm understanding more and more. It's the law. It is not God, because that's a very tainted view, yes? But the fact when he wrote those Psalms, right? When he wrote those Psalms, he was so impassioned about God and the law. Like he was just so in awe. So when I started to write poetry, and what triggered that in me, the need to create for one, but then as I was sitting there and I'm typing away, I would lean back, and the love, you understand, I want you to get it. The law is not a person, right? So it doesn't say, I love you. It doesn't reward you. It doesn't punish you. That's not what it is. But what it is unconditional love. There aren't any conditions to creation. It has one specific formula. Plant a seed, reap it. That's creation. That's the law. That's the law. All is mine, because where you plant it, you use the law of gender. You use the masculine to project the seed into the womb of your mind. Right? Think about creation. When you begin to recognize that you get to imitate the law, thereby imitating the Creator. Nobody's ever seen the face of the Creator. Nobody knows. But the very fact that you can use the laws in the exact same way that the Creator uses the laws, even though the Creator is above the law, because the Creator made the law. It's not subject to law. It is above them. But when it creates, it uses the law. Oh, you see what I'm saying? When you recognize the amount of love, when you recognize the amount of love that is in the law, that tells you whatever you have in your mind is yours. There's nothing that you cannot accomplish. There's nothing you can't do. This is what the law is telling you. Think about, I don't even know if you can grasp, because I'm still struggling with the fact of, how do you get your head around that? That you didn't have to do anything. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be high and mighty. You don't have to be the Queen of England. Mahalia Jackson said, if the rich, right? What did she say in the song? The rich would live and the poor would die. The whole wide world in his hands. Can you imagine? This is why the law does not discriminate. The law doesn't discriminate. Look at the amount of love that it takes to not discriminate. What does the Bible tell you? It rains on the just and the unjust. It rains either way. Whether you be just or unjust, you still get the privilege of having rain and nourishment. But don't be deceived into thinking that you can escape the law. Right? Again, it doesn't punish nor does it reward. It simply gives you what you are. You get to recreate yourself. We recreate ourselves in our children, in our spawn, right? We recreate ourselves in them. It is the same thing spiritually and mentally. We always recreate ourselves. If you can grasp the amount of love in that one act alone, the ability to recreate yourself, you begin to understand why it doesn't matter what George's opinion of you is. It doesn't matter what your family's opinion of you is. What matters is what seed are you planting? That's it. Sit down and contemplate that for a moment. Sit down and have that just envelop your whole being for half an hour. Who am I that I have the privilege to recreate myself because I know the law now? Think about it. So when you get up and you say, well, I desire this house, or I desire this car, or I desire this mate, it is yours. It is yours based upon the seed that you plant. There's no other qualification. You don't have to, Lord, I come before you today and I beg for your mercy. None of that needs to be done. Plant the seed, reap the harvest. That is what one should be contemplating. But we sit down and we reminisce about all the bad shits that happened to us in our lives. We sit there and you lean back and you're like, I can't believe it. That happened to me. And she's got the audacity to want to be my friend now? Like I'm going to forget what she did to me? Am I boss? You let them do what they want to do? These white folks can get away with whatever they want to get away with. And if I say something, I'm an angry black woman. Look at what we sit down and think about. How much further ahead would we be if we sat down and thought about how incredible it was that all I have to do is say it, and the word does not return void. And you don't have to get up and say, well, I gotta believe. You have to know, not believe. Know. K-N-O-W. What does that mean? Knowledge. Because it is the applied knowledge that brings the wisdom. Yes. So then I tell you that nature teaches you everything. Nature tells you that birds of a feather flock together. Pigeons are always together, but you don't see pigeons with eagles. Not that eagles are better than pigeons or pigeons are less than, but they're not of the same mindset. So when you look at nature, that's what you got to recognize. Not that one is better than the other, but that they're not of the same mind. Nor can they ever be. Pigeons and crows are not friends. So the old mindset, the pigeon mindset, can be elevated. You see, listen to what I'm saying to you today. I want you to listen up just because you can hear me, because your ears are working, right? Grasp, comprehend what I'm telling you. Even though you look into the physical world and you see that it is absolute, that pigeons and eagles and hawks aren't going to be friends. But if you look into the spiritual realm, to have the mind of an eagle, you must elevate it from the mind of the pigeon. And how do you do that? Raise your level of comprehension is what you do. Where we are bound physically, we are free mentally and spiritually. You understand what I'm saying to you? If you go out, they had this video of I forget what kind, I think she was she a lioness? And the baby, the cub, the leopard cub was going to die because its mother was dead. And the lioness, she just adopted the tiger. Now, why would would she do a thing like that in nature? Why? Why would she? Because all nature understands what love is. Love is not this ooey gooey thing. It is the law at work. Right? It's the law at work. But again, I keep telling us, if you're going to sit down and think about something, it better not be about foolishness. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? It better not be about foolishness. And about that cause and effect, don't think I forgot you, Miss T-Versation. When you said you've got some information for me, I want you to think about that. Originally, I was not going to come on live today because it's laundry day. And, you know, I'm just putzing around. And not that I wear makeup anyway, but at least I would have laid them down some more, right? I would have brushed it out, but I just pulled it back. It's tame, right? But what did I say? That scenario in my head and her incredulity, her, who do you think you are? I am the gynecologist. I've been practicing for 20 years. I know what I'm talking about. I know I see these things and I'm the one taking out these uteruses all the time, sometimes 2, 3 a day. There's no hope for your situation. Right? Now, let me tell you something. When you're creating your scene or when you're going to play something over in your head about what you want to experience and how you want to experience it, I want to walk calmly into her office because I can see it now sitting in her chair and simply say, oh, I do believe my fibroid is gone. And the first thing she'll say was, how do you know? Because we didn't do a second ultrasound to confirm. I said, well, I don't feel it anymore. We do the ultrasound. She's like, well, yes, it is gone. What did you do? That gives me an opportunity to say, I imagined it away. And you know what these doctors always tell you. That's not possible. And that's when I get to say, well, according to the ultrasound, it is possible. You see? Sometimes when you are creating the scene, when you're planting the seed, then the seed is, I'm fibroid free. That's the seed. And what confirms that? Anytime I think about it, anytime it shocks me with a little bit of pain, I simply say, this heifer out here trying to tell me. But look at the ultrasound. The ultrasound shows it's gone. What is her explanation? That the first ultrasound was wrong? I'm like, your palpation was wrong? No, it's gone. You just can't handle the fact that you couldn't take my uterus from me. So you see, you have to use all your senses. For me, that feels most natural to have that confrontation. Right? So when you've got somebody in your life and you want to forgive them, right? Sometimes we do and sometimes we don't want to forgive them. When you are saying to yourself, what am I playing over and over in my mind? Play that over and over in your mind. That's what I'm doing. I'm playing that one scene over and over again, that this heifer did not take my bits from me, and she was humbled by nature herself. And it had nothing to do with me. All I do is plant the seed. How Mother Nature decides that she's going to make it disappear is all up to her. The law will do what it does. So when you have that coworker and you're driving to work and you're cussing them out, oh, I can't stand you. When you get to work, that's the first person you see. And you get to tell them how you feel. Oh, you annoy me. But what if you change that scenario in your head and you started saying, well, I like your hat. Or I like your shoes. Did you get a new car? Right? Start seeing yourself being nice to them and them being nice back. Right? And then you start hearing the whispers of in the other office. People say, hey, those two get along. Weren't they enemies? They get along now? Wait, what? You see? That's how you think. That's how you build a scene. That's how you do it. Because we are already playing things over and over and over and over and over in our heads. So put the scene, use the law of gender, and impregnate your own mind. How many? I am going to say it until we get it. Right? Because I'm not just saying it to you, I'm saying it to me too. Because sometimes I sit there and I'm like, because I can feel it, and I'm like, oh, that's so annoying. But I know the more I look at it and the more I feel it, the more I touch it and the more I think about it and the more I talk about it, it stays there because it has my full attention. But if I give my full attention to confounding the so-called wise one, the gynecologist, especially the man, oh, I can't wait to call him back. I can't wait to call him back. He gonna tell me, that's your only option, Angela. And of course, me and all of my sweetness said, but what if you were told that your only option was to cut off your testicles? Wouldn't you look for another option? That's just how I said it to him. Right? So if you're going to play these scenarios in your mind, you may as well play the scenario of you having overcome the issue. In other words, that soil in your mind is fertile. But then plant good quality seeds in it. And you know that because the law says plant and you shall reap. Right? Exactly, Miss Conversation. So what are we supposed to do? Are we going to sit there and just give it to him? No. You got to know that the law is bigger and everything is subject to it. So the law is like this and the fibroid is like this. Who's going to win that? Well, the law will, because the fibroid is subject to the law. So if, you know in the scripture when they say you tell the mountain to move and it moves and falls into the ocean? That's what it's saying. It's saying to you, put your mind where you want it to be, which is the success. And now that your mind is on the success, let it consume you. Be consumed by your success. Not because you've earned it. You hear that? Not because you've earned it. You don't have to earn shit. You just got to plant seeds based on the harvest you want to reap. Right? You go to the berry farm that has blueberries. They planted blueberries so I can go pick them. I'm not going to go to a strawberry patch and say I want blueberries. Huh? So how? Plant according to what you want to reap. And how do you know what you're planting? What is that conversation you're having in your head? What is the conversation that you're having in your head? Are you sitting there cussing somebody out? It better be cussing them out to tell them, look at what happened. See, I told you. I told you all things were possible. You see, it's gone. That's the kind of conversation you have. With that, and you know when they tell you, you got to put the feeling behind it. Yes, if you are more aroused by the anger, well then use the anger. Here's scripture again. Don't sin in your anger. What does it mean? To sin means to fall short and not accomplish your goal. Right? But if you're going to use the anger in that scenario to say, you see, I told you. I told you. All I needed was more time, but you weren't willing to do that. I told you it was possible. Maybe next time you'll believe the next person who sits in your chair. Maybe, do you see what I'm saying? Use that conversation because that conversation has you so fired up and so impassioned. Then bam, people say, how long does it take for the manifestation to show up? You know how long it takes? It takes as long as it takes you to impress it upon your mind. Done like dinner. You see what I'm saying to you? See what I'm saying? And like I said, today I wasn't going to come on live. And now Miss Conversation has information she wants to share with me. Do you see? Cause and effect. Right? Golden Crest. Well, hello. Hello, Golden Crest. But that's what I'm telling you today. If your natural feeling inclination is to argue, build your scene around an argument that proves you were right, that you always get what it is you imagine. Yes, because this is how you play it out. You say, because you know you're talking to George, and George is like, look, you need to have a plan B, because plan A is far-fetched. And so now that your plan A has come to fruition, because it has, right? In your mind, you tell George, you see, George, you keep with your plan A, and you keep with your plan B and see how that works. But clearly you can see my plan A worked, and here's the evidence. See, I told you. I always get what it is I desire because I plant the right seeds. You see how impassioned you are when you talk about certain things? Well, then build the scenario and impress that conversation over and over and over and over and over again in your mind. You tired of being broke? Well, then you have the conversation that says, yeah, now that I got money, you want to come and borrow all the time. This is how we going to do it? That's all right. I'll give it to you. I'm not going to lend it to you. You don't have to pay me back. You don't have to pay me back. That's how you have that conversation in your head. As opposed to, oh, God, I'm so broke. No, imagine telling somebody, I'm going to just give it to you. Don't lend money to friends and family. I'm going to just give it to you. Here, take it. That's what you say. Right? Build the scenario. Build the experience you want to have in your mind based on that conversation. Because we're always talking to ourselves. Are these things making sense? Are these scenarios making sense? You know? So what if you say, oh, but this relationship that I'm in isn't working? Whatever, my ear hurts. Well, you say, what is this thing? This relationship? Well, sit down and have a conversation and say, yeah, you know, I remember when this was really tumultuous and when we couldn't see eye to eye. I'm real glad that we worked things out. I'm real glad we worked things out. Right? And that person is next to you, you next to that person, your heads are together, you're like, yeah, I'm glad we worked it out. Come a long way, haven't we? That's the conversation, as opposed to every time you think about this bitch, this heifer, they drive me crazy. I'm going to leave this relationship. That's what I'm telling you today. Do not allow the rocks of the past. Do not allow the thorns of your memories. Do not allow the birds, you know, the incessant squawking of well-meaning people disrupt your planting. You see it? You don't got to go digging and hoeing and weeding in your own garden of your mind. Recognize that the garden of your mind is beautiful, fertile soil. So beautiful and so fertile that everybody's vying for a little piece of that. Yes. You understand what I'm saying to you? Yes. So all of these conversations that you have with yourself, make sure that you are planting the seed of what it is you want to reap. Make sure that, right? So this means now when you take charge of planting the seeds based upon the harvest you want to reap, what doubt is there? What frustration is there? There isn't any. But Angela, that thing is too far-fetched. Listen, I don't want to use the phrase be realistic. I don't want to use that phrase. what this story I heard, this young lady, she wanted to act in a particular movie, and she just saw herself doing it. And sure enough, she acted in the sequel. Like, what the hell? Like, all these things we hear all the time. Henry Cavill, you know, Superman. Geralt of Rivera. Listen, he's the most beautiful man in the world I've ever seen in my entire life. Henry Cavill. If you don't know who he is, let me tell you something. Got all brothers. I think he belongs to the milkman because none of them look like him. Not even his mother and his father, but they all... Anyway, I digress. He always wanted to be Superman. And what did he play? The biggest blockbuster? Superman. Like he was just born to be Superman. Right? And a particular book he loved so much. When he heard it was being made into a TV series, he was like, oh, well, I must play that role because I love it. And he said, it is mine. And now they're on season 3. And what they were saying? He was born for the role. Is everything far-fetched? The same thing for the young cat who plays Spider-Man. Tom Holland. He always wanted to be Spider-Man when he was younger. Well, shoot, he's only like 23, right? He took ballet. He did he does parkour, gymnastics. He always wanted to be Spider-Man. So when the role for Spider-Man came up and he auditioned, and he was the only one that they auditioned who could actually do these flips and tumbles, why? Because of the gymnastics and the parkour that he did. His mother was like, are you sure you're going to get that role? He was like, yeah, Mom. And now he's Spider-Man. Right? So what I'm saying to you today is things may seem far-fetched and out of your reach. If you look at them from the standpoint of a human, then yes. But if you look at them mentally, if you look at things mentally, spiritually, and you do what the law does to create, plant the seed, and it will grow. So if you're going to use your mouth and your mind, if you're going to think about it, if you're going to talk about it, well, then it better be in confirmation of having accomplished it. Because that's how you are actually in the garden plucking out the weeds and making sure that the caterpillars aren't in your stuff, right? Your, doubts, caterpillars eating it up. That's what you're doing when you think about having accomplished it, speaking about having accomplished it. And sometimes it is best to keep things to yourself. Why? Because you see those well-meaning people? They'll mirror back to you your own deep-seated doubts. You really think that's possible? You think you can do that? That doubt is in you. That's why you're seeing it on the outside in them. So hush. And if you're going to talk to somebody, talk to yourself. And play that scenario over and over and over and over again of having accomplished the thing. Okay. I don't want to be the crazy cat lady, right? Let me see who's in here so I can give some shout outs and let you guys go, because it's almost been an hour and y'all know I'm a chatty Cathy, especially I get so fired up with the law. Empress Ella G, thank you for being here. Miss T-Versation. And yeah, Miss T-Versation was the catalyst for this, because I did post the premiere. And she was like, wait, what? That's it? I was ready. And I was like, look, I better come on here because... right? So that's what that is. Thank you, Miss T-Versation. I trust that this was beneficial for everybody today. And you are right. I'm reading your comment here. Yes, sometimes we don't even see our own value. But the very fact that you're here shows your value. Oh. Because only beauty is ever created. I don't make that shit up. That's the law. Only the Creator only makes beautiful things. We see ugly in the world, then we have forgotten the beauty of creation. Oh. And Golden Crest, thank you for being here as well. Welcome to the space. I'm trying to remember if we have connected in the past, but I don't remember the name coming out of my mouth. Golden Crest. Yeah. So thank you, Miss T-Versation. I appreciate what you're going to send me because it's cause and effect. I told you I was looking for the solution. And all of these things are coming to play their role. See, you always know how to act and when to act. It's never, oh no, what do I do? It's never that. Here are some things that are coming down the pipe. I'll be doing Bible stories. Yes, I'll be reading Bible stories and then interpreting them by way of the law. Because you know as well as I know, every single holy book has its essence from the laws of creation. So we're gonna read those stories. I just gave you one today with a sower going out to sow with the rocks and the thorns and the birds and the fertile soil. You see what I'm saying? And I told you what the rocks were, what the thorns were, what the birds are. No wonder y'all think I'm crazy. I'm okay with that. I have fully embraced my crazy. Trust me, I have. Ain't no shame in it. But that's the thing. As a storyteller, the animation just comes naturally, you know? So, because cause and effect. In order for the people to absorb, something has to stand out to them. So that now when you go home, you say that Angela and her caca, you remember why I taught you caca, so that you won't allow well-meaning people to come along and pluck the seeds of thought out of your mind that you planted there. Oh, yes. Listen, I don't make the law, I'm governed by it, right? This is all it is. And so, yes, I just... When I tell you, I understand what King David was talking about when he was sitting there and he was describing his love for God. I'll post the poetry. I'll post it. One of these days I'll post it. I'll post them. Perhaps I'll put a collection together. But I don't know. But that's where I'm at right now. I'm just creating. I'm just moving the energy in the sacral chakra. Because once energy is moving and flowing, no blockages can remain. Right? You say thank you for me, Miss T-Versation. Empress Ella, I'm glad when you catch these lives too, you know. Golden Crest, thank you for being here. And you know what? I appreciate you. You love my way of being. That is so sweet. There is no other way to be. That's the thing. If more of us would walk in our own way of being. You see it? We got to walk in that. It doesn't matter what the outside world is. Believe me, I always heard, oh my God, you talk so much. How come you so dramatic? And now look at it. People are saying to me, Angela, are you going to teach a class about storytelling? You see? Thank you, Golden Crest, and I'm giving you a big hug too. Look, I hug myself often. I have one of those jackets. Man, you guys are crazy. Anyway, I'm not going to keep you. I look forward to getting your communication, Miss T-Versation. And again, thank each and every one of you for being in the space today. I appreciate it sincerely. And I'm looking to bring it live to a city near you. We'll see. We'll see. I tell you, you just gotta plant the seed in the fertile mind, right? Yeah. Anyhow, go forth and enjoy the rest of your lovely afternoon. And maybe I'll get some ice cream today. It is a hot day out. But let me go put this laundry in the dryer. I love you all. Much love, my beautiful friends. Much love.